What's up, guys? And welcome back to another episode of the ynggpodcast. So, day one of free agency, and now we're back with another video. We just covered the Brett Pesce deal, and now we have some deals on the front of the Chicago Blackhawks. Let's start with the first one that happened today, and it's official, signed and sealed. Not Todd Bertuzzi, but the Tyler Bertuzzi signing with the Chicago Blackhawks. So let me just refer to David Pagnotta I'm on my X account right now. It's a 4-year deal with Chicago with a $5.5 million AAV. So those are the stipulations. So Tyler Bertuzzi, a player who spent this past year, signed on a 1-year deal, just under the $5 million mark with Toronto, spent a year there, had 43 points in 80 games, 21 goals, playing alongside Austin Matthews for the most part on the second power play unit. Their second unit in Toronto, kind of a relief for the top guns. The top guys get most of the 2 minutes, but came in to be a complimentary scorer for them. But I know Treliving wanted to bring him back in Toronto, but it had to make sense logistically, and that's considering the term of the contract and the AAV. But on Toronto's front, they also had other notable UFAs such as Max Domi and such as Timothy Liljegren, who is also a free agent. So let me just go to their salary cap situation here, guys. Give me a moment. So Toronto, had some decisions to make. Obviously their forward core is expensive. Look at their big four. It's talked about all the time, but Max Domi, look at where my cursor is. So Max Domi signed a 4-year deal yesterday to come back. Son of Ty Domi. There's ties to this organization, and I think both parties wanted to come back in the agreement. Max Domi had a solid year in Toronto. So he signed the 4-year deal at 3.75, and there's only so much money to go around. On top of that, Timothy Liljegren last night was reported to extend it on a 2-year deal, $3 million AAV. So this kind of affected the kind of AAV that Toronto could offer Bertuzzi, right? Because you gotta share the pot, and Bertuzzi hits the open market and signs a deal with a 5.5 AAV, and gets some term in Chicago. Rebuilding franchise is going to go there. Is going to have the possibility to to play with Connor Bedard. So moving on to Chicago's cap friendly. Sorry about the ad, guys. Give me a second here. So Chicago, with the signing of Tyler Bertuzzi, so look at it here. They're officially eclipsed the cap floor. So they get over the $61 million hump and are officially cap compliant going into next season. Obviously, they still have roster spots to give out, but so Kyle Davidson, GM, has officially eclipsed the cap floor. So Tyler Bertuzzi is already reported here on Cap Friendly. His 4-year deal at 5.5. He's going to come in, be their highest paid forward. Good veteran presence. Tyler Bertuzzi's been around the league for some time. Drafted by the Detroit Red Wings. Let me go back to his hockey league over here. 29 years of age, second-round pick, drafted in 2013 by the Red Wings. Had a notable season here where he scored 30 goals in the 2021-2022 season with Detroit. The next year after that, he was a trade piece, looming unrestricted free agency trade piece at the deadline. Gets traded to Boston. Fairly productive there. In the series they lost in the first round against Florida last year, he had 10 points in 7 playoff games, which is really good, but wasn't able to get the kind of long-term contract he wanted. And so a lot of teams were more cap strapped last summer, and obviously the cap keeps going up, and that plays an impact as well. But he was only able to land that 1-year deal in Toronto. So hits unrestricted free agency again, and now for the third time in the past 2 years has a new home. One was Boston, one was Toronto, and now he is officially going to another Original Six franchise in Chicago. So he's gonna be able to finally settle down and only hit on unrestricted free agency potentially in 4 years. So Tyler Bertuzzi added to the mix there. We could expect that, he's going to be relied on heavily in their top six. Let me just show you their projected lineup for Chicago here. So Chicago, there might be, I don't know how updated Cap Friendly is, but, Connor Bedard started the year with Taylor Hall. Taylor Hall got hurt. Nick Foligno was on that line with Connor Bedard for some time. They were fairly productive together. Foligno was a good complementary player for him, but I think you get a guy who's a legit top six winger at this still in his prime and Bertuzzi, and it's almost a lot that he'll probably be playing with alongside Connor Bedard and would be a good veteran influence for him. But they could deploy things in different ways. Andreas Athanasiou could also play at center. Got Dickinson there. Mikheyev could also play center. He was brought in earlier in the week. Ryan Donato, but I believe either alongside Reichel on the second line or alongside Connor Bedard, like I said, on the first line for Bertuzzi. So, what Tyler Bertuzzi is a gritty top six winger. But let me show you guys Jay Fresh's scorecard here on Tyler Bertuzzi. So signed by Chicago, hardworking offensive winger who creates scoring opportunities in the net front, both by shooting and passing the puck. Has the ability to play with top players because he did it this year with Austin, this past year with Austin Matthews. The finishing touch has always been streaky, peaking at a 36 goal pace in the 2021-2022 season, like I had mentioned prior. So let me just zoom in on the scorecard. I'll let you guys run your own breakdown on it, but a lot of the metrics are good. He's fairly consistent. His WAR in past couple of years compared to his peers with with similar situations, ice time, he's been ranking in the higher percentiles, offense, defense at and finishing at even strength. Look at the numbers here. Obviously in the offensive category he's been a standout, but he is your offensive kind of gritty forward, nose for the net. That's the kind of player that he is. You should expect him to be on the top power play unit as the net front guy in Chicago, I would expect. So he goes to a rebuilding franchise. He's not going to another contender, and he's getting paid. But his teammate now. There was also announced that Teravainen is going to be returning to Chicago and is going to be joining the mix as well. Yeah, so he signs with the Chicago Blackhawks. Do we have yes? So Jay Fresh is also reporting it here. So it's a 3-year deal. It hasn't been reported on the cap just yet. 3-year deal at 5.4, almost identical AAV to Tyler. He's a pass first defensive middle six winger who kills penalties. He's not big, speedy, or physical, but he contributes to the forecheck and helps his line maintain possession of the puck. Just a very astute Finnish player, and who's been fairly productive and basically everywhere he's gone. So let me go to his bio right here. 29 years old, was a first round pick by Chicago, so it's gonna be his second stint there. Like I mentioned, he spent some time with them. He got his championship ring in one of his first seasons over there. He was kind of in a middle six role, yes, in Chicago, and then he goes to Carolina, and then he gets a legit role in their top six, and he was fairly productive. 64 point year, 76 point year, 63. Missed some time here. This is also, I believe, a shortened season due to the COVID-19 virus. In 2022, a 65-point year, like just fairly productive in the playoffs as well. Had a bunch of playoff runs with that team in Carolina. But hits unrestricted free agency towards the end of his prime, and now is going to a team in Chicago that have top six roles to fill out because they want to complement their young core over there, guys of like Dickinson, like I said, Connor Bedard, and also Lucas Reichel, and some of the other guys they've been bringing in the past 2 drafts. He's still productive. 25 goals in this past year, 53 points, chipped in to a respectable degree in the playoffs. But Carolina has their own decisions to make, cap wise, which I'll show you guys. So yeah, let me just close these 2 tabs over here. But Carolina had a lot of decisions to make for this offseason. They couldn't bring back Brett Pesce. They didn't have the cap space to do it. Kind of overloaded at defenseman, right? So let's start with that. Dmitry Orlov over here is still commanding over 7. They signed him as an unrestricted last summer. He still got his final year on that deal. It was a short-term deal. Slavin's going to hit unrestricted free agency next season, and you would expect, such an integral part of this team that he's going to get his long-term contract. They're already in negotiations with him. Brent Burns, as a 39-year-old, it could be retirement or another short-term deal, but he's their expensive contract on their decor. They signed Chatfield this offseason to a 3-year deal. Had a pretty good playoff run for them. Nice regular season as well. And right, so they had their forwards are getting expensive. Jordan Martinook has got years left. Jordan Stahl as well. Seth Jarvis, RFA, Martinikas, who's been in the trade mill, is he's another guy that they might have that they're looking to move, because there's only so much money for them to go around. Seth Jarvis is probably gonna command at least 6. I would assume. So Teravainen, I'll go say Teravainen was a casualty for them, and he's gonna be going in and helping a Hawks team and probably playing in their top 6. Potential to play with a Connor Bedard or even a Lucas Reichel. And, they're loading up, Chicago is loading up to give their young players the best opportunity to thrive here. Yes, they're a rebuilding team, right? But, you gotta find ways to get more competitive, to grow culture. And how you grow culture is by winning more games. Your young players learning the ropes, and you gotta compete night in, night out, because Chicago, they had a hard time just getting to the 20 wins mark this past season, and things have got to move in a positive direction, regardless if you don't view yourself as a contender in the next 2 or 3 or 4, even 4 seasons. You got to get things moving. You get a guy who knows the franchise in Teravainen, who won the cup there. He knows what it means to be a Chicago Blackhawk. Playing our original 6 franchise. He's going to be coming back. Good presence in the locker room, I would assume. So yeah, Tyler Bertuzzi and Teuvo Teravainen, pair of wingers signed to very similar deals, help Chicago eclipse the cap floor. Are going to be going there to have legitimate top 6 roles. So yeah, I'll leave it at that. We got a lot more signings to cover today. And we're gonna be cranking out these videos shortly as the day goes by. So stay tuned for we're making a video on the Steven Stamkos signing now with the Nashville Preds, and as well as Brandon Montour is going to the Kraken. So guys, stay tuned. This has been Zach from the ynggpodcast. Like this video. Interact in the comments. Let us know what you think about this deal, about these 2 signings. Chicago fans, we love to hear what you guys think. So guys, thanks for watching, and see you on the next.